If you love country music, you already know who she is and you love how she sings and writes songs. If you love podcasts, you probably know her as well. If you didn't know those two things, you probably know her from this. I would think that's probably why you know this next young lady. Alexis Wilkins, a good friend of ours, singer-songwriter, podcaster, and it turns out the world now knows the girlfriend of Kash Patel. How are you, Alexis? Good to see you.
I'm doing well, Joe. How are you? Great to see you.
I'm doing very well. Good to see you, too. Now, I knew about this a long time ago when I saw you and Kash at Mar-a-Lago, and we hung out a little bit, and I was like, when you walked away, because, I know Kash very well, I said, dude, are you guys dating? He's like, yeah. I just thought that was awesome. I love that it's out there in the world now. I was wondering when he was going to be sworn in if you would be there, and thank God you were. What did you think about the reaction? People just seem to love you right there by his side.
Oh my gosh. Well, the funniest part is that I had no idea that it was live. I don't know why that didn't occur to me. You're in those big life moments, and all I could think about is how proud I am of him, and all of our friends are there, his family's there. We're having a life moment, and apparently the rest of the world was having a news moment, which
Yes.
I found out after I finally charged my phone, because of course it was dead, as it would be. It's just funny how things happen. But no, it's been really nice to see some of the things that people have been really kind and said, and ultimately I'm just so proud of him. I mean, that day was all about him and the work that he's put in to get to a place where he can help America, which is ultimately what he's always wanted to do. So I'm really, was really happy to see it right there in person.
I was so happy to see you there with him. It's interesting when you posted this picture on X. I think you said something to the effect of, "It's okay to be proud to be an American again." I mean, that's just
Yes.
pride on your face, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think I posted that one. I think one that was, saying looks like America's going to be okay.
Yes.
And so and it's true. It's funny how the world does a 180 so quickly. I used to be ostracized for putting an American flag in my Instagram bio
Right.
and supporting veterans organizations, which I have done since the beginning. And really, that was the pivot for me, where I said, okay, no more being quiet. This was a long time ago now,
Yeah.
but before it was cool. And it's just one of those things where you go, these are not my values, these are not my beliefs, and I'm going to make sure and I speak up so that I can find the actual audience that appreciates things I appreciate, loves America, loves this country, as everyone should.
Yeah.
And so it's funny to see that 180. But yes, absolutely, especially with that photo. It's okay
I
to be
did.
proud to be an American.
I love that you posted it. And again, I love that you were right there. Alexis Wilkins, singer-songwriter, PragerU contributor, and also a host of Between the Lines, or Between the Headlines. Between the Headlines. Go to alexiswilkins.com. So let's talk about how the tide has changed. It's funny because you and I and Kash and others who are like-minded, love America, love the country, America first. We've always felt this way. And yeah, we were somewhat ostracized, but we were still strong enough to stick our chests out and say, hey, listen, we're very proud to be who we are. It's kind of nice to see other people who felt the same as us unafraid to say so now, isn't it?
It is. It's nice to see the tide change. It's unfortunate that the tide had to change. This country got to a point where we were worried. I just want to reflect on that for a minute, kind of what you said, Joe. We were worried that we would be, ostracized from our jobs, not just
Yeah.
our friend group or, some odd person that you run into in real life, but from our workplace, from our family gatherings. It got really heightened, of course, during COVID, but really throughout that whole point thereafter as well, and through the whole Biden administration. We didn't know how that was going to shake out, and so for it to be this much of a tide change, it's really heartening to see, and have the people and get to see even people like you get to connect with you and say, hey, we made it out to the other side, and truly
Yes.
that's how it feels. I'm sure it does for you as well.
No, it does. It's Alexis Wilkins. Again, you and I were never afraid to say who we were. We really didn't care who looked down on us. But I wonder why it was so effective. And I think the messaging of the left is falling apart right now. I think we're seeing it happen with Al Green making a fool of himself at the speech and then being censured.
Yeah.
And you see, Jasmine Crockett, everything that she has to say. Bernie Sanders just doesn't seem to have his get up and go anymore. The left seems to be lost. And I'm thankful for that. But for a long time, the messaging was so good and so powerful. I wonder if you can opine about this. Is it because the mainstream media, or the legacy media, isn't being trusted at all anymore? Is it that the Democrats overplayed their hand at every turn and they don't even realize that it's a 70-30 issue? What do you think caused that tide change? Other than you and me and Trump and Kash being firm in our beliefs, what helped everybody else to say, whoa, they've been lying to us over there. Maybe we should listen to Alexis?
I think the left got more left. I think they got overconfident and their strategists became overpaid. And I think that they just kept saying, do more. Fine. You want to pay us? Do more of what you're doing. Keep going in that direction. It seems to be working. And so, you see videos of even Obama saying common sense, calling for common sense immigration.
Right.
And that was the old Democrat Party. And then they kept going in the direction. And they said, you know what? We're okay with your family being unsafe. We're okay with your daughters being unsafe in their
Right.
locker rooms. We're okay with, not having the strength that America needs to stand on an international stage and not only defend itself, but defend its, honestly, it's being a world power. Other
Yeah.
countries started to step up to bat. We all saw it. And I think it was just them saying these things that very obviously were not okay and were not with common sense. And you had the middle left Elon Musk crowd go, this isn't good for my bank account. This isn't
Yeah.
good for my family. You kind of had that generation go, oh wait, I do have 10-year-olds, and it does matter how this world ends up. And I think no matter how you dice it, when you looked at the issues that the left was trying to carry as their main message points, they're not sustainable. There are things that you get too far into a conversation and you go, ooh, I don't know that I want that. Even the most
Right.
progressive people, I think, started to backpedal. And now, of course, their messaging is attempting to pretend that they're moderates. We have it with Gavin starting his
What
podcast.
is
And
that?
uh, it's messaging. I mean, it's
Yeah.
total farce like messaging. I'm honestly torn between not even talking about it at all and not giving him a platform because he deserves to live in his terrible response to the fires that he
Yeah.
caused longer. I don't want him to turn over the media cycle, but you have things like that where they're trying to pretend that they're moderates and saying that oh, no, really, I don't believe the things that I've been touting for the last 4 years. No, not me. And then the Slotkin response, I think, was her attempt at being moderate. And that's clearly what they think they need to do. But the funniest part about it is they have not an idea how to act it. They can
They
say
don't.
the things, their speechwriters do okay, but they have no idea how to actually implement those things. Once they've gotten farther down the track of, you had however many Democrats vote to not keep men out of women's sports.
No,
They're
it's a
not here for common sense.
it's a very good point. Were you at the speech the other night?
I wasn't there in person, no.
Okay, so we're watching it on television, and we see all of these women on the left wearing pink outfits in support of women, and they just, as you just pointed out very wisely, just voted against protecting women and girls' sports. You've got people who were there yelling about how yes, they would do 5 more years of funding for Ukraine, while at the same time acting like us building up the military for us and protecting us and having Hegseth is a bad thing. How do you think that they in their own, I don't want to get you into the mind of a liberal. I don't want you to hurt yourself. But how do you think they justify it when they go to bed at night that, yes, I stand up for women, but I want men, full-grown men in women's locker rooms. Yes, I stand up for Ukraine, but I can't tell you why. And I know that my standing up for Ukraine is causing more death. How do you think they come to terms with that?
Well, I don't imagine that there's a lot of self-reflection there. And to
That's
some
true.
extent, I
Probably
hope
true.
that there's not. Because if there is, then they have to be really sick people to be okay with sleeping at night, having both of those realities be the case. And, they're strategic people. They have dumb ideas, and of course, we don't agree with the things that they say. But a
Right.
lot of the people that are trying to propagate these ideas, they're not stupid people. That's the first thing is to not. I don't want to underestimate them over here. But I don't think that they're really thinking through all of their common sense points or really lack of common sense points. And I think they're just saying whatever the machine tells them to. They accuse us of everything they're doing. They say that Elon is an unelected bureaucrat. They're a party of unelected bureaucrats. They
Yeah.
will do anything for their purse strings. They don't think of the American people. They can't even stand when something totally nonpartisan, not even related to politics, young little DJ who's been battling cancer his whole life
Yes.
has been appointed and made an honorary Secret Service member, and President Trump, of course, points him out in the crowd, which was such a beautiful moment.
It was.
And they can't even take a breath to go, that's a 13-year-old who has been fighting and who I need to stand for because this isn't politics. This is a kid. They can't even do that, which means that they can't look at anything apolitically anymore. And I think they've lost the plot, truly.
Well, I couldn't agree with you more. You know, when Nicole Wallace and Rachel Maddow over on MSNBC were so disgusting in their reaction to President Trump just
Shameful.
simply saying, "Look at this kid. Look at how great he is. We're going to give him an honorary badge. Isn't this wonderful? Other people suffering from pediatric cancer can now maybe get some hope from him." It was such a great moment, and the fact that a few people clapped a little bit on the left, but not a one of them stood up. And then MSNBC saying horrible, disgusting lies about Trump afterwards does tell us who they are. So I'm going to be meaner than you. You're way nicer than I am. They're either really, really stupid or they are really, really horrible people. There's really no in
Well, yeah.
between. You can't stand for what they stand for, and it's so completely anti any sort of normal rationale without being a really bad person or really dumb. If you had to choose, is it dumb or really bad, or don't you want to go there?
I'll go there. I think that they don't care. I think that they're in a spot of
True.
desperation now. I think they might be a little bit dumb, but I think they know exactly what they're doing. And I think it's honestly, I'd rather just say that some of them are very bad people because if you say they're dumb, it kind of abdicates them of responsibility. And I think
True.
that, if you take actions, you owe it to be responsible for them. And so I'm going to say that they have interest in being negligent to American citizens and that they have bad interest for this country because if they didn't, they wouldn't be only concerned about their own pocketbook, their own reputations. They're just doing what they're told, or they're doing the thing that gets them the loudest reaction in order to get elected, to retain the place in office, to honestly continue doing bad for America. And it is, I agree, Joe, it's shameful.
It is. It's AlexisWilkins.com. Go to that website. Can they get to your behind or between the headlines? They get there from your website, or should they go right to Rumble?
You can get there from my website, but you can go right to Rumble. It's Between the Headlines is the show, and it's on my channel, Alexis Wilkins.
Alexis Wilkins, go and check her out on Rumble. Between the Headlines, is it up and running now, or is it about to start?
It's about to start. So we went all last year, didn't miss a week throughout the election. We kept it going through the end of last year and then took a brief break. As you know, Joe, there was a lot going on.
Yes, there was a little bit going on, yeah.
Just felt like maybe giving it a breath was a good idea. And so we are coming back in probably the next week or so.
Well, we look forward to checking it out. I want to talk about country music in a second, but I got to ask you the question because people are watching this right now and screaming, is he going to ask her or not? Being somebody who's in a relationship with the FBI director, do you have to be extra careful with what you say and do? Is that dumb? The guy is like the boss of the FBI, for God's sakes, Alexis. Come on.
It's so funny because we've been for Joe, but for those of you who don't know, we've been together for over 2 years now.
Yes.
So it wasn't always this way. You don't pick where you end up, and I'm so proud of him and everything. His whole thing has always been, he said it in the hearings, transparency and justice for the American people. So it's really just that's what it is for him, and I'm so proud of him. As for me, I've always been, from country music to my political commentary, working with PragerU, having a show. Everything that I do is summarizing what I see and my opinion and what I think is going on, and using the things that I know, just from my own opinions, to formulate again my opinion. So he obviously has a level that he goes and does, and that's none of my business, and won't be, because he has to keep that to himself. And so
I had
for
to ask
me,
you that
these are my
question.
opinions.
I had to ask you that, or else people would have yelled at me. Does she have to be careful now that she's with the guy who's running the FBI?
The truth is, aren't we all a little careful all the time?
We are. Yes, we are. We certainly are. It's Alexis Wilkins. Go to AlexisWilkins.com. What I loved about Cash came on my show 20 times, and they are actually using my interview with him against him for some reason. I mean, Amy Klobuchar called it the Joe Pax podcast or something. But and I just love how steadfast he was. And again, I love that you're standing by his side while that's happening. And of course, he is standing by your side as you continue to flourish with Between the Headlines and your country music. You've been a country music star for a long time, and you're an incredible singer. By the way, I sing too. You and I should sing something together sometime.
I was
actually
going to say we need to do a duet. I stumbled upon more of your music yesterday,
did you?
Joe. I did. It's funny, the timing. I was like, okay, I've got to ask him on the show. We need to sing together.
I would love to do that. Anytime you want to do that, let's make that happen. But I mean, I'm nowhere near your league, and I love what you do. Have you got new music coming out? Is there something that right now people should go and listen to? I think if they see you in a video or hear you sing one song, they're going to be hooked. Where can they find some stuff?
Well, thank you. Of course, on my, my socials, my website, my YouTube, my Rumble has everything. So if you want to go find the music, just look up Alexis Wilkins on every streaming platform. You're going to find it there. I am recording very soon, and we'll be putting out music soon. So I'm really excited to have that be a part of the cycle here momentarily. Of course, it's been a lot of politics, so I'm really excited to have some music focus here soon.
You know, your music is homemade American great stuff. Country music is the backbone of this country. When you do a song and there's this patriotic sort of feel to it, were you getting garbage for a long time from the left? And again, it's a smaller number with louder voices that were doing that to people like you and me. But were you getting a lot of garbage from the left? And now are they kind of shutting up because they know that your message is the one that people really do side with?
It's interesting because I've been doing this long enough in a patriotic way to where I started out when the industry was not into patriotism, and they still
Right.
kind of aren't. But the Hollywood even kind of takes over the Nashville land, and I wish it didn't, but it does. And so the industry affects it too. Labels don't want to be overtly patriotic. They're worried again if you're working with veterans organizations or putting a American flag in your bio, or they want you to donate to blue causes. They want you to speak out about
So
their
crazy.
candidates. I mean, it really is just as slimy as you think it is. And so starting out from that, going through all that I went through against the industry
Yeah.
with that, to speaking out and saying, you know what, my values are way more important to me than any label deal, any, thing that I can be offered by this industry. I'm just going to continue to trudge forward, make my music, find the audience, and be able to speak out about the things that I love. And I've been really honored and grateful to find that audience and have people that love what I stand for politically and even just value set and love the music too. And so, yeah, you get a lot of trash for it at first and kind of through the process, and you have someone pop up again, like you said, with a loud voice here or there. But now, I don't think they know really where to throw their daggers,
Right.
honestly. It used to be, yeah, we'll attack their culture, and they can't survive without the machine of the industry. I'm saying this as the left. They
Right.
think we'll just attack the culture. We'll make sure that you can't have a career. We'll make sure that you never get signed. And for me, that's been the biggest blessing, because now the whole thing's done a huge 180. People are open to being patriotic, enthusiastic about being patriotic. And I've been here touting the things that I believe, never bending the knee, never sacrificing, and coming out the other side with an audience that is so fantastic. So I feel fortunate, and the haters are pretty quiet.
Well, we're fortunate to be able to take in your music. I think that you're amazing. What's
Thank
interesting
you.
is you were in the forefront of this, and people are finally catching up to you. You've got a lot of people now with really big names who are not afraid to come out, and a lot of these were like you. They weren't afraid to come out the entire time, like John Rich and Kevin Sorbo and John Voight and people like that. They're not afraid to come out. Even Sylvester Stallone is coming
Yeah.
out now saying, "Of course I love the country. What are you, crazy? Have you seen my movies?" So at the end of the day, you were right the entire time. Was there ever a moment, because you're still very young, was there ever a moment where you were like, man, this is what I believe, but maybe I'll hide it for a second because I can be more successful? Or were you always like this?
No, never a moment, never an afterthought, never, oh, should I do this? Really never a moment there. I have always been just steadfast in the things I believe. It's how my parents raised me. That's how my papa always taught me to be. And so for me, I just figured, if I'm true to the things that I believe, and I stand up for the things that I believe in, and I love this country and I tell everyone about it, then, that's going to be my path, and that's okay. When
I love
you
it.
when you're even in the trenches of it, though, too, Joe, you look around and you see the material things that people are getting, and I don't mean material things like actual material things, but
Right.
a deal from the label that has people that hate your beliefs at it. Do you really want that? It
No.
you kind of look over and you go, I don't think they're having a really good time either, and they're having to swallow what they believe or say that they believe something they don't, and that sounds terrible. So there was never a moment for me, and that's really been it's been it the whole time.
Yeah, and I love it. And you haven't changed at all. We're going to be able to take you in doing Between the Headlines on Rumble starting soon. Go and follow on Rumble, Alexis Wilkins, probably all one word after the rumble.com, right?
Yes.
Okay, go and follow her there. Go to alexiswilkins.com. Follow her on all the social media. And if you haven't heard her sing yet, go and check out her singing. There are videos available there. Go and download what she does on all the music platforms as well. And, young lady, I've got you on video now saying that you're going to sing with me. So at some point we have to do that.
You can hold me to it. Let's do it.
Alexis, I appreciate you coming on. God bless you. Keep on keeping on. And anytime you want to come back on, let's do it, okay?
Thank you, Joe. You too. God bless you.
All
Have
right,
a good
God
one.
bless. You too. We're back after this. Stay right here.